Second. So because there have been so many complaints about Zoom being kind of finicky, like in Dictation Zoom Labs, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to do a screen share of the audio file because in my experience, that's been, you guys have a better experience hearing that. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to go into Canvas, go to the assignment, and I'm going to play the MP3, okay? But I want you guys to look at something. I'll go ahead and start the screen share now. And I want to show you something. If I go here, I have to exit full screen. So check this out. If I go to assignments, this is an important thing that I want to make sure everybody understands before we begin. So if you look in the dictation assignments, here's of course the instructions. We have this is the information that's in your packet, but in case people can't print their packet, it's here. Here's the MP3s, and then I've included some instructions here for a possible way to approach harmonic dictation in terms of strategy that I'd highly recommend you guys check out. So I'll go ahead and read these really quickly. So follow this format when doing dictation assignment 3, and this is a similar process that was in the body of last week's dictation assignment. On first listening, capture the excerpt in your inner ear, playing back the tape of the bass part. Determine meter, rhythm, cadence type, it's kind of optional on this listening, and notate in proto-notation or standard notation the parts of the bass line you can hear. Based on your understanding of the phrase model and harmonic tendency, analyze possible bass motions for the parts of the bass line that may not be perfectly in focus on your first listening. And that hits this principle we've been talking about all year, and that is use the silence between listenings to play back the tape. It's amazing how your ear can kind of fill in the blanks of things that you may not have really had in focus on the first listening, and then you can confirm it on a subsequent listening. Okay, so those are the instructions on this first listening. Are there any questions about that before I start? Okay, here we are, a first listening. I hope this works. Here we are. Okay, let me ask, did everybody hear that okay? Thumbs up if you heard it. Okay, cool. So I'll give you guys about 60 seconds with those instructions. Okay, are we ready for another listening? Yes? Okay, so on this next listening, I'll go ahead and read this instruction, but we can do some of the things from the first step as well. On the second listening, capture your notated bass line. Sorry, I had to move my screen here. And the possible pitches you orally explored in one with what you hear. Play back the tape of the more in-focus bass line after the first listening, notating the complete bass line. So after the second listening, I'm going to ask you some questions. We're going to sing the tonic. We're going to sing the starting pitch of the bass line. I'm going to ask you to tap the pulse, and then we're going to figure out whether it's simple or compound, and whether we think it's duple, triple, or quadruple meter. Okay, so here we are. We're going to play this 11-second excerpt again for the second time. Okay, so everybody go ahead and get your hand on your space bar. I want everybody to sing Do. Put your hand on your space bar, unmute, and let's see if this works. It may or may not work. Here we are. Everybody sing do.
Do.
Beautiful. And what was the starting pitch of the bass part? The same one, right? Everybody do. Very, very good. So I'd like you guys to tap where you feel the pulse. Go ahead and be muted for a second here. And so I'm going to go ahead and tap where I feel the pulse and tell me if that's, of course, it might not be perfectly lined up, but we're going to have some sense. So where I felt the pulse was here. Okay, so good. I'm seeing you guys by some strange freak of nature or some strange freak of technology. I'm seeing some of us actually lined up, which is crazy. But anyway, so is that where everybody's feeling the pulse? Yes? Anybody feeling a pulse other than that? Okay, now let's ask ourselves, are we hearing simple or compound meter? Meaning, are we hearing ta, di? I guess this one, that's actually not such a good question because this one just has things on the pulse. So we're going to ignore that question. My apologies. So are we in duple, triple, or quadruple meter? Raise your hand if you think it's in duple. Raise your hand if you think it's duple. Raise your hand if you think it's triple. Look at that. Look at all those hands shoot up. Right, so we're in triple meter. Now, are we ready to sing the bass line, or do we want another listening? I know this is kind of a weird way to do this if you're on your own. Thumbs up if we're ready to sing the bass line. Okay, good. Here we are. Let's go ahead and sing the tonic again. Unmute, spacebar, tonic. Good. So we're not going to be able to line this up. Go ahead and be mute. I'm going to sing what I hear the bass line as, and you can tell me if it doesn't line up with what you have. I'll do, again, it's not going to be lined up. Sorry. If you're on mute and you're watching me and your experience is that you're lined up with me, that's fine. I'm going to see a lag, but that's not a big deal. Here we are. 1, 2, 3. Do, ti, do, so. Do, fa, so, do. All right, is that pretty consistent with what you guys got? Yes? All right, beautiful. Go ahead and write that out in proto notation. I'll write it in proto notation as well. Can you guys see that, or is it just way too far away? Okay. I don't know what to do about that. Actually, I'm going to switch. I'm going to stop the screen share for a second and switch. If I switch to this video, I guess not particularly helpful. Okay, I don't know how well this is going to work. Okay, so let's actually go. I'm going to fix this after this next listening here, but I'm going to go to another listening. So here we are with a third listening. I'm sorry, I'll read the instructions first. Third listening. On the third listening, air check your bass line while listening peripherally to the upper voice. After hearing the upper voice 3 times, you should be able to make out some of the pitches. Quote, play back the tape, end quote, in your mind's ear using your knowledge of good counterpoint and harmonic tendency to fill in the blanks. Do your best to hear the intervals harmonically. If you're struggling to do this, toggle back and forth melodically between the 2 pitches, imagining sustain in your mind's ear so they bleed into one sound. If you have time, arpeggiate up from the structural bass notes to determine harmony. Here we are on a third listening. Okay, so I'm going to ask everybody to go ahead and unmute. I want you guys to auralize the pitch you hear in the soprano in the upper voice. I'm seeing some people go like this. How many of us are having trouble hearing the upper voice? Raise your hand if you're having trouble hearing the upper voice. Okay, whoa, that is a lot of people. So check this out. So do you guys remember how in the lecture video last week I talked about how you can plug these into Audacity and improve your peripheral listening? Do you guys remember that? Okay, so I would recommend doing that not as the normal way you do your dictation assignments, but as a targeted way of increasing your peripheral listening. Okay, I'll do that at the keyboard real quick. I know it's not going to sound great, but I'm going to play this upper voicing, okay, and I want you guys to listen up and down the texture, okay? Hello? Okay, so here we are. We've got this voicing in the opening. Okay, so I'm actually going to play the first three. Okay, so listen up and see. I'm actually just going to sort of repeat this note. Okay, to call attention to it. Again, here's the whole voicing. And if you plug this into Audacity, you could do that looping thing where you listen up and down the texture. You guys got the bass part. That's awesome. The upper part here. Okay, I want everybody to unmute and sing that with me. Here we are. Beautiful. So with that in mind, listen to what happens after that. And actually, I'll toggle back now. I'll actually toggle back now to, now that you have that in your ear, let's toggle back to a listening and see if you can hear what the melody does after that. Okay, let me ask you guys something. Did that exercise sensitize you to being, once you could hear do in the upper part, it's pretty easy to follow what happens after that, correct? Shake your head, thumbs up if that's true. Okay, good. So I'm going to let you play back the tape for a minute, then we're going to sing the soprano part together. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's try this. Let's go note by note in the upper part, okay? So everybody sing the first pitch, unmute yourself. Let's sing the first pitch. Beautiful. The next pitch. Good. Let's really auralize re. Okay, so you heard do right here. Auralize re. Okay, let's sing re again and have it be in. Let's have re be a little bit more in focus. Here we are with re. Beautiful. So much better. Back to do. I'm sorry. Back to the next pitch is. Good. The next pitch, which is the downbeat of the second measure. Good. Next pitch. Good. Now here's the big one. What happens on the next pitch? Sorry, we might have gotten lost exactly where we were in the melody here. Do we want another listening or can we sing the melody part? We're at third listening. We can do another. We do have time. Want to do one more listening before we do the melody? Okay, let's do one more listening before we do the melody. This is what you guys sang so far. You sang do, do, ti, sorry, do, re, do, ti. That's what you guys sang. I'm sorry, I was skipping ahead in the melody. So what we heard from you guys was do, re, do, ti. Okay, here we are from there.
Wow.
Okay, are we ready to sing? Thumbs up if you're ready to sing. Okay, good. So again, go ahead and mute. I will sing, and you can sing along with me. You won't be lined up with me, but that's okay. So I'm going to do one measure, and then so conduct and sing along with me. 1, 2, 3. Do, re, do, ti, do, la, so, so. All right, is that lining up with what you guys are hearing? Yes? Okay, I'll write that out in proto notation. So the key center here is what? We're at key center of F. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and transfer the bass part. So that'll actually be helpful for the upper part here. So here we are. Okay, so can you guys see that, or is that sort of a lost cause? Tell me if you can see it, thumbs up. If you can't see it, tell me if it's a problem. Go thumbs down. I could actually, to be honest, I could look into doing a screen share with this, maybe like plugging it into Finale or something like that. This is always going to work a little better than that. Yes, what was your question, Aaron?
I had a comment. If you go into and you change to speaker view, you can full screen your video, so it's easier to see the board.
Oh, you mean in terms of like what you guys are seeing? Because that's what you guys are seeing. Cool. All right, thank you for that. Yeah, you can also do that thing where you find somebody and do like pin video and then they show up. Yeah. Okay, so this is what we've got, right? We good with that? Okay, let's actually, for good measure, let's go ahead and sing the upper part and the lower part again. Okay, actually, we'll do the bass part, then the soprano part again. Here's your tonic chord. Okay, again, you won't go ahead, mute, and sing along with me. Bass part first. 1, 2, 3. Do, ti, do, so, do, fa, so, do. And then the upper part we'll sing. 1, 2, 3. Do, re, do, ti, do, la, so, so. All right, so we're all good with that? Okay, so now here's the cool part, and that is let's go ahead and label these harmonies. Now, if we use that graph, that chart rather, that I showed you in the lecture video, it becomes really clear what's happening here, right? So again, when we have do in the bass, there's only one option for what that can be, right? And that is a tonic chord. So you'll label it with a Roman numeral 1. Okay, if you take a look at the second voicing here, where we have T in the bass, again, there's only one thing that can be. Zoe, what is it?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
So the question is, on this second voicing here, where we have T in the bass, if we follow the chart, we know that at this point, there's only one harmony that can have T in the bass. So how are we going to label that harmony? The second beat of the first measure.
565.
You're right on 5. So what's the difference between a 5/6 and a 5/6/5, Zoe?
One has a seventh in it.
Right. And we actually haven't had seventh chords yet in this class. So we know that it's what?
5/6.
Beautiful. So we've got a 5/6. What do we have on this third chord? Beat 3 of the first measure. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just wondering what chart you were referencing.
Okay, so in the video, I'll go back to that. Does anybody else have that question? Okay, so check this out. In the video, I could scroll in the video, but I'm going to do a screen share instead. This is going to be really useful for you guys. So check this out. We look at, I need to get to it here. In preview, where did it go? Okay, so check this out. So here is the packet for this week. No, there's not the packet for this week. Give me 1 second. Okay, can you guys see the packet, please, somebody? Yes? Okay, you guys can see the packet. So check out this chart. So this chart shows us, with any scale degree that we have in the bass, we're kind of locked in to what the harmony is going to be because our palette for harmonies is so small right now. We only have 3 chords, and we only have those 3 chords in root position or first inversion. That means there's only one possibility. If you look here, can you guys see my cursor? Annika, can you see my cursor? Okay, if you look here, you'll see that T in the bass locks us in to only one harmony. Okay? Now, that is to say, that actually gets to a point I made earlier in when we were viewing the video, and that is it's really important that you guys be thinking strategically about what content we've covered, right? Because this happens all the time. Like this first week in harmonic dictation, we see people that are like, oh, that's a 5, it's a 7 diminished 7 of 5, and we're like, really? We haven't had anything like that so far. So just be thinking about what it is we've covered so far in the class. And for this week, we're only having root position and first inversion 1, 4, and 5 chords. That means when there's T in the bass, it's only one possibility, right? We cool with that? Okay, so then what do we have here on beat 3 of the first measure? Anybody?
1 chord.
Very good. We have 1. What do we have here? We have so in the bass, so there's only one possibility. What is that? Yes, I'm seeing people go like this. Yeah. What do we have here? Same as here, same as here. So we know it's this, right? What do we have here? Remember on my video how I was a jerk about saying if fa's in the bass, there's only one thing it can be, right? So it's not going to be this, right? No 2/6. Instead, we have root position 4. Okay, what do we have here? The penultimate. They're very good. We've got 5. And what do we have here on the downbeat of the last measure? Yes, we have 1. So you are done with your assignment at this point, except for one thing, and that is cadence identification. What kind of a cadence do we have here? Anybody?
Imperfect.
What makes it imperfect, Aiden?
It's sol in the soprano part instead of do.
That's right. Are we all good with that? So that's in the packet. You guys know this from your written theory class, but just look at those guidelines. we have an IAC. And that's what you're going to do for each one of these. You're going to follow the same, you're going to follow the exact same format. I know it took a little bit longer to do it today, just because of the tech and stuff like that, but you'll follow the same process on your own. Does that make sense? Okay, so check this out. I want to make a couple quick, I know we're out of time. This is going to take 20 seconds. A couple things. First of all, when you guys are having trouble hearing the upper voice, I implore you, check out Audacity. It was on the video for last week in regard to listening and making sure you can hear the bass part. Some of these Karpinski recordings, basically the way they perform them, the voicing isn't very clear. When we're not doing this class this way, that is when you have live dictation labs and live dictation quizzes, the GEs and myself will compensate for that, for making the outer voices. Basically, we have really heavy pinkies when we play these. You don't have that luxury on these Karpinski exercises. So the answer is for you to sensitize yourself to those upper voices so that you can hear kind of a not ideal performance and still get the information you need. Does that make sense? The other thing is follow the instructions that are in the dictation assignment description. It's going to be super, super helpful for you to think about process. One final thing, I'm repeating this again, but it's going to be super helpful moving forward that you guys keep track of what the possible content is. Okay?